guess you want to say, our adaptive sports coordinator called me because they were short one person in a tournament. Didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I was like, sure, not a problem. It's a challenge. I'll go play. And I went, and I had a blast, So I started following it a lot more closely. Had no idea CD volleyball was as big as it is. So after that, the rest was history. Now I just work on it a lot. I want to say every sport that I do, it's for myself, but it's for other arm amputees. It's to show other guys, like, life goes on. There's nothing that we can't do. There's nothing that, if you tell me I can't do something, just know that it just got done. So this is one of those sports that typically we don't play, but I am. Being that I've been in the Army 15 years, most people would assume it was a combat injury, but I actually was already back from one of my tours, and a lady was texting and driving. She rear-ended me on my motorcycle and threw me over the barrier, and in mid-flight, I got hit by another vehicle passing. So that's how I lost my arm. If you was to try adaptive sports, and whether you've ever done sports or not, I would tell you sports is very, very key to recovery. Sports brings out that competitive nature in you that most people already have. So if you carry that over to everyday regular life, you're going to want to get better. You're going to want to live life. You're going to want to get back to how you were, to what you were before. So I would definitely say, try it. I'm pretty sure you would enjoy it. You would love it, like the rest of the Wounded Warriors out here. But not only that, man, never let your injury define who you are. So if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way to get it
done. Again, we have a great guest here tonight. I'm actually so excited to have this young man here tonight to talk to you. So without further ado, we're going to look to bring Michael Smith in tonight, and this is going to be a great, great inspirational show for us tonight. I'm excited. Look forward to having him. So let's bring in Sergeant First Class. Mr. Sergeant First Class Michael Smith, how are you?
What's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited you're here tonight. Crane, one of our guys, told us about you, and it was just such an inspirational story to hear you talk about, your whole situation. And I'm looking forward to you speaking to everyone and telling them your story. It looked like we might have a little connection. Let's get right here for a second. Let's see, I know we're having bad weather here. Let me see how's Mike's weather. Can you hear me? Is your Wi-Fi on? Can you hear me?
All right, we good now?
It might be your Wi-Fi. Yeah, can you hear me? It's possible that it's the Wi-Fi that you may have to go on. Yeah, you may have to go on your phone's just regular signal. Let's see.
All right. Yeah, let me try to get closer to this router. Oh, tell Holly to turn it off.
Okay. Trust me, we've seen it all. This is better. We can hear you. We can see you. And that's technology.
I'm gonna try to make it work.
Live, baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it work. I'm gonna try to make it work.
We're gonna make it work. Hey, this is light work. This is light work for you. Man, before we get started, I just want to tell you, man, we have been I think the lights a little bit. There you go. There you go. Yeah, there we go. So we've had a lot of major, basketball players on here. We've had a lot of social media influencers on here. And, with you, it wasn't so much as who you are, but what you represent. You know what I mean? So
Right.
this is why I love what we do and the platform we have when you're able to use it in a positive manner. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So before we really dive in, I want you to tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Man. Uh,
Don't
man,
don't hold back. Don't be modest.
nah,
Tell me.
nah, man, I'm as cool and calm as collective as they come. You understand me? Like,
Right.
uh, I come from a really strong family. You can see this, you can see my family support on here right now.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, I come up from a real strong family, and you know, uh, from Texas, so I had those Texas roots in me,
Okay.
and you know, um, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, been through a lot, and I just believe in paying it forward. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that God doesn't make mistakes, and
Yeah.
I just want other people to know that, and
Yeah.
I where I'm at now is not someplace I ever thought I'd be mentally.
Right.
It's more of a mental thing for me than a physical thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, so I'm just gonna tell you, I'm just gonna be 100 with you. As we continue to talk and we start talking about family and things of that nature, man,
Yeah.
I get a little teary-eyed, man, because
Hey, man,
it's
we
it's
all
it's
do.
it's been a rough road. You understand me? So, but I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, he doesn't make mistakes. And when I was going through all this at a early on, I just when you think about giving up, you know what I mean, and then you have family to hang on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tell you everything's gonna be all right. You just gotta believe. I mean,
And
here we are.
that's really important, man. That having that support group. And in a little bit we're gonna dive into your whole, like, so much. There was so much. I read so much on you. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
was so much to read. But one thing that appealed to me off the gate is, you are active duty military now.
yes, sir.
I was former military myself. I was in the Navy, and we make a commitment to serve and protect and so forth. And before we get into your personal stuff, let's talk a little bit about the Army here and what it means to you. But the state of our country and the unrest and without being politically
Right,
affiliated, just what do you think personally it would take to get us back to what we stand for?
man. That's a loaded question, my guy. That's a
Yeah.
super loaded question,
Yeah.
man. Without being, like you said, too political, man. My job first and foremost as a soldier is to protect and serve. You understand me? Like,
Yeah.
my job is to go out and to defend this country against, everybody, anything and everybody that wants to do harm to us. That's my job. But I also fight for people to have their different opinions, their different beliefs. And
Yeah.
if you ever pay attention to my social media, I don't dive into all of that. That's not me. I don't do that. I use my platform to inspire, motivate, and encourage. But I respect everybody's beliefs. I respect what you believe.
Right.
But you could be a Jehovah's Witness for all I know. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, I respect it because
You
we
have
live
that
in the
right.
greatest country in the world. You understand me?
That's
So,
right. Right.
as far as my, that's as far as I dive in, as far as my political and this, that, and the other. And, people ask me about the president, and, because I've met the Obamas a few times, and, so they ask me, and I just tell them at the end of the day, whoever's sitting in that seat, my job is to carry out them orders. You understand me? So,
And
that's
I'm
just what
glad
I
you
believe.
I'm glad you mentioned that because like I said, being military myself, it's a fine line of understanding. Having our personal feelings because we have
Yeah.
a duty. We have a duty to do.
Right.
And
Right.
and and at the end of the day, to be honest with you, whether we agree or disagree really shows no bearing because we have a duty to do. You know what I mean? We're here to
Yeah.
defend the right for you to maybe say or do things we don't agree with. You know what I mean? It's not
Yep.
it's not what you saying, it's the fact that you have the right to say it. And
Right.
and if you're a civilian, you don't quite always understand, that mindset.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, you're former military, you know, and thank you for your service as well, you know. But
Sure.
you you know, I mean, social media is a killer right now, and
It's
you
different.
know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of, you know, I look at it, I get on there, you know, and I look and see what people got going on and what they saying, and at the end of the day, all you can do is respect it, man. And you
That's
know, with there's so much going on in the world right now, you know, with the different cop issues that we having and young black men getting killed and things of that nature, you know.
yeah.
Um, I just honestly, I don't try to advocate. I just try to stay in my lane, make
Yeah.
sure me and mine is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
just the people around me, just try to make sure that they're not putting themselves in any type of situation that's going to put them in that type of in harm's way. You understand? So,
Good
I mean, and
stuff.
sometimes it can be avoided, but you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No,
Just
that's a good testimonial from your perspective being in the military,
yeah.
because sometimes that can be tough. But now you're in the military. I know when I went in,
Mm,
mine was mostly motivated by the free education and so forth. And people go in for many reasons, whether it be for education, whether it be a family tradition. What really led you to the Army?
yeah, man. Man, I don't know. To be honest with you, man, I didn't grow up in like in a harsh situation or nothing like that. Like I
Hmm.
had my family and my friends, like my immediate friends were the McKissick's. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but like Jacob, my pastor and his family, and then, you know, uh, just I didn't grow up in a harsh situation. So um
Hmm.
I was a little mischievous, you know, I think as all young men are, you know, and
Uh-huh.
um, you know, I was focused on sports and them gals. So,
Right.
you know, it was just one of those things. And coming from a single parent household, you know, so it was just one of those things where, um, man, believe it or not, me and my sister, that's like my role, that's my ace, and we had a talk, and you know, it was kind of like, what are you gonna do type things, and
Right. Now look, let me tell you about this show now. All right. We don't want no sugar coat now. We
yeah,
don't want
I
to
hear
hear no
you.
sugar coat, because
I got you.
from what I hear at the rumor mill now, you was that guy back in the day now.
I
So
mean, well, you know, I ain't
I'm just
wanna,
saying now.
you never want to blow your own horn, you know what I'm saying? But
I'm just saying. I'm just hearing that you was the ladies' man, and hey, come on now. Like, let's be real about it now. You smiling hard. That's usually mischievous. So when you say mischievous, you mean you were getting it in. Okay.
yeah, something like
Look at it
that.
like,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
something
You
like
messing
that.
me up right now. You
It
playing.
went to the. I'm gonna kill Jacob when I talk to him after this, because I know he the one that's running his mouth.
Right,
But
right, right.
I you know just I don't know.
So, so
But the crazy thing is I wasn't like all over the place though. You know what I mean? Like um I you couldn't associate me with a certain type of group or nothing like that. You know,
right.
I just kind of did my own thing. I
Kind
just
of
kind
did
of
your own thing.
yeah, I stayed in my own
Uh-huh.
circle. You know what I mean? And
Right,
you know, I love to play ball. I play ball. You know, and I
right, right,
mean,
right.
I don't want to say I was that guy. If you would have asked me about 5 years ago when I was on this ego trip, I would have been like, yeah, let me tell you. You know,
Right, right.
I done calm down, man. I'm 40 years
Right.
old, man.
Right,
Got a
right.
little girl
We,
out there.
we, we want to leave some of them bones in the closet. Huh?
Please do, please do.
Now, you went in early. Now, I know you did, you went to Iraq, right?
hmm
Now,
Yeah,
what age did you go to Iraq, or first went to Iraq? And then, was you scared? What was the experience like?
man. Um, yeah, man. I was scared as all get out, man. You know, you know, when I joined, man, it wasn't no conflict going on, so that was like the furthest thing away from my mind. And
Mhm.
you know, at this particular time, I had played all Army basketball, and I was
Okay.
traveling. Yeah, I was traveling, doing my thing, and still involved in sports. And then, uh, I went to Korea, and I was over in Korea, and when I was in Korea, that's when things really started to shape up and get bad. So,
Okay.
yeah, I remember leaving Korea, going to Fort Lewis, Washington, and at the time, I had a little cousin in the Army, Natalie, and because I have two other cousins that was in the Air Force, Nikki and Cassandra. Both of them were in the Air Force. And then my other cousin who was in the Army, I called her, and I remember when I found out, I think she was the first person I called. Me and my little cousin, all my family were close, but she was the one I called, and I just remember like crying like no other. Like, this was not what I was expecting. This is not
Right.
what, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But you know, talk to my mom, talk to my sister, just talk to everybody, and man, we did that whole family praying thing, and everybody, you're gonna go do your thing, you're gonna come back, you're gonna be all right, and that's
Yeah.
just kind of how it was, man. Like I said, I can't express family enough, but that's just how it was, man. I went over there at
Now,
a young age.
when you
Go
got
ahead.
there, was it as scary as you thought it was?
Oh man, that and then some. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, that and then some. I mean, I'm a combat MOS, man. Air assault,
Mm.
artillery, you know what I mean? So when
Mm.
we went to Missouri, we was up north. So when we got to it, we was in the thick of things, you know what I mean? So, um, yeah, it's not nothing I would wish on anybody, but
Mm.
once again, you're in the military, and your first and foremost, your job is to protect and serve. So
Right.
you had to get in that mind frame. It's either you or them,
Right.
and I'm trying to
Right.
get back home to my family. So by
Yeah.
any means necessary. So it's kind of what it was.
Did you have anybody over there that maybe took you under their wing as like, I got you, young fella? Or were you pretty much on your own?
Nah, man. I mean, pretty much like the Navy, man. When you build a bond, you build a brotherhood. You understand? So by the time we had trained up and got over there, man, we knew what it was. We knew we had everybody's back. We knew that it was time to go um, do what we signed up for. And everybody had a job, and we did what we were supposed to do, and brought it on back to the crib.
Good stuff. And we're glad you made it safe from there, because, a lot of soldiers didn't.
Yeah.
And being over there and surviving that whole experience in Iraq
Hmm.
and that war zone,
Hmm.
and then you come home and there's this horrific accident
Yeah.
that was worse than Iraq to you. And
Man, you don't play no games. You jump right on into it, huh? You
I'm
didn't give me a
coming. I'm
chance to.
coming for it.
I couldn't even look. I had to grab my napkins and get them ready, bro.
Right? Yeah.
You dive right
And
into it.
this is, and you know why? Because there's so many people that watch my lives and my post and
Mhm.
understand that we all go through something. And just telling you just today, the guy that has been talking to you about the whole show, my VP, we were
Mhm.
talking today, and I was just explaining to him just a couple of hours ago that when people look, listen to me and rely on me, but yet I feel the same pain they do. I cry
Right.
just like they do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and those type of things. So, I really want them to hear your story. And if you don't mind, because I read about it in the article,
Mhm.
because you described it so much that I could see it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I want them to understand just how horrific it was, and you're here today being an inspiration. So if you don't mind, could you kind of give them whatever level of details you want to about why you're an inspiration to so many people? What happened that night?
Yeah, man. Uh, I mean, I like I said, a couple of tours or whatever, and come back home and was got into recruiting and was living my best life and got into motorcycles and been riding for a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, the one time I wasn't being reckless and being silly on a bike, was with a couple of friends. And yeah, man, it was very vivid. I mean, I just remember being on the highway and I remember seeing a car like merging and yeah, like she was in her phone. You could see the glare. You know, at nighttime, you can see the glares from these big phones now, and these phones look like computers. So, you know, you can see the glare. And I just remember revving my engine, you know, and I could see that it kind of started her because, you know, she looked up, you know, whatever case was. And I just remember trying to wave her on. And for whatever reason, I guess she didn't want to pass me. So she got behind me. And um, yeah, I don't know if she went back to her phone. I don't know if she misjudged the distance between me and her. She couldn't have been trying to take an exit because I'm in the far lane. And I just remember passing. This is in Nashville, Tennessee. So I remember passing over or the bridge, the first bridge. And I remember seeing the Titan Stadium to the right. And yeah, the next thing I know is I just remember getting hit from behind. And if you know anything about motorcycles, you get into like this funky little twist and turn or whatever the case is. And I just remember getting into that. And man, next thing I remember, I was just airborne. And everything was just so like slow. Like I can see everything that's going on. And I remember like twirling, and I remember seeing oncoming headlights. And I just remember the next thing I remember is getting hit. And I didn't do any sliding. I just remember getting hit, and I remember slamming to the ground. Yeah, and then of course it knocked me out. The impact knocked me out. And then I remember coming back to and hearing car horns and just that military, that fight or flight situation that, you know, you always get into when you deploy. I just remember like coming to, and I remember saying like, man, I've got to get up. I've got to get out the way because I'm not really knowing what's going on. And just remember like trying to get up. And man, I remember like literally like pulling my arm like almost completely out of my motorcycle jacket. And I remember passing out again. And then when I came to again, like this is like flashes. And then when I came to again, this lady, so you will appreciate this. This lady, my head was in this lady's lap. And yeah, she was telling me like, hey, you've been hit. Your arm is like off, like it's severed. I'm gonna have to stop the bleeding. And I remember telling her like, hey, if you can find my motorcycle, I have a small medic bag in my seat. There's a tourniquet in there. And I was like, I can walk you through, like I could tell you how to apply this tourniquet. Kid you not, man. This lady told me, she was like, I'm a Navy corpsman. I can do this. Like soon as she said I'm a Navy corpsman, like I passed out. Cause it was like there was like a sign, like no lie, it was like God's sign saying like you're gonna be taken care of, like you're fine. What are the chances in Nashville, Tennessee? Because there's not a Navy base around there. But what are the chances that a Navy corpsman stops and witnesses the whole thing? You understand? And then stops the bleeding. Like she literally saved my life. You know, and that's crazy. It's just crazy, man. And then
yeah.
If there's a funny moment in all this, I remember being in the ambulance, and the paramedic was asking me. He was like, "Hey, sir," he was like, "Do you know what happened?" And I was like, "I don't know, but we cannot tell the Army." I was like, "We cannot tell them boys because they are gonna put me out. They do not play no games." I was like, "I'm done." All I kept doing was crying, like telling the Army, like telling him, like, "Please don't tell the Army. Please don't tell the Army." He was like, "It wasn't your fault." And I was like, "Bro, you must ain't never served in the military. They do not care." I was like, I am done. Like, I am done for. You know what I mean? And but yeah, and then the one thing, and anybody in my family can attest to this, man. Like, my grandmother has not changed her address or her phone number since day one. And when they asked me,
I don't think a black grandmother has, but go ahead.
nah, nah. My grandmother hadn't changed her address or her phone number since day one. And when the paramedic asked me for my information on her, he was like, "Hey, who can we call?" That's the first thing I routed off. Listen, Arlington, Texas, such and such address. This is the phone number. Like, that's who. This little
Right.
old lady's gonna answer the phone. You need to tell
Grandmother.
her,
Yeah.
yeah, to call my mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Uh,
but yeah, so all that happened and um man, I knew something was really wrong when I finally, because they medically induced me into a coma or whatever the case was, and I knew something was really wrong when I woke up. And when I woke up, I saw my mom and my grandmother. Yeah, that's when I knew something was like terribly wrong. My uncle was there, so man, when your family comes to the rescue and they don't live nowhere close,
yeah.
something ain't right. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, just
Yeah. You know,
like
man, just hearing what you've been through and the adversity and the trauma and the memories and that that whole ordeal, and for you to still be as strong as you are, not just physically but emotionally. I know what you're going to say just having this first conversation, but what do you attest that strength coming from?
oh man, God first, always. You know what I mean? And then family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm telling you, man, he doesn't make any mistakes. And
Right. Right.
I'm a firm believer that when things happen to you, and things don't go as planned, it's because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, or he's trying to tell you something, and
Leading you where
um,
you're supposed to be.
yeah, and he probably gave me to be honest with you, man, he gave me a few warnings. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And I just didn't adhere to them.
Mm-hmm.
But he got my attention this last time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Believe me, he got my attention this last time. So
Well,
you
well,
know,
you did your if I remember right, you did your rehab and everything at the Warrior Training Unit, right?
yep.
Um, what was that like for you to be able to rehab there, and the work it took for you to be the first above elbow amputee to actually, be ruled fit for active duty? Like, that's huge.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna tell you this, man, straight up. So like, um, man, no, man. So practically the army, I felt like the army had forgot about me, like straight up. I was at home on my mom, like at my mom's house for like, man, like months on end. Like,
Mm,
and nobody from the military called me. Like I
really?
was out straight up. I was at home on my couch.
And
Like,
you were still active duty?
yes, still active duty, still in at home on my couch. Nobody called, nobody said nothing. I was hanging out with family, hanging out with friends, doing the most.
Get
And
out.
yes, man, that's yeah, yeah. I try not to put that out there, especially when I'm getting interviewed, you know what I mean? But I
Yep.
mean it is what it is, that's what
Yeah.
happened. And I remember my mom asking me a lot, like, hey, like this ain't normal. Like
Yeah.
this ain't normal. But, my cousin, once again, family, man, my cousin, she's a neurologist in the Air Force. And she was in San Antonio. And she's the one that was like, yeah, we got a WTU here. Like it's a warrior transition, like that's where you're supposed to be. She's like, cousin, I think you need to check into that.
So
And
nobody from the Army told you about it?
I knew nothing about that stuff, bro. Like
Get
I had
out.
no clue. I had no clue those things even existed.
Right.
No
Right.
clue. So my cousin told me about it. And so I was like, yeah, okay, so let me make some phone calls. So I ended up going back to Tennessee so that I could start this process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, one particular day, I jumped in my car, wasn't supposed to be driving, and I drove from Nashville to Fort Campbell, and I found a WTU, and I literally walked in there, and I was like, "Hey, so I need some help because apparently this is like where you come to
Really?
recover." Yes, that they command team took one look at me and was like, you're active duty? And I was like, yes. And they was like, where do you live? And I was like, Nashville. They asked me what happened. I told them what happened. They was like, we have no clue who you are, that you even are hurt.
Really?
Like they had no clue. They took me to the hospital commander. So you know how that goes. And then
Yeah.
they contacted my command. No lie. Like within 48, 72 hours, Yeah, they was on it. Like I was headed to San Antonio.
Get out.
Yeah, man. It was
That's
crazy.
that's crazy right there. Man, like that's again family pulling through. You know what I mean? And and is her name Nikki?
Yeah, yeah, she on
Oh,
there. You see her?
yes.
Yeah,
I see. Whoop
yeah,
whoop, cousin. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I
yeah,
figured
yeah.
that
You
was
see her?
her
Yeah,
that made the call. That's great, man. Like, and the thing is, you went in there and you didn't just be the regular rehab guy. You were already an athlete, but you went in there and became a beast. You know what I mean?
yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I went in there a little bitter, man, because I felt like I had been left. You know what I'm saying? Like I was already having issues, emotional and mental issues with everything that was going on because my life had
Absolutely.
took an abrupt change I felt for the worst at the time. So, um, yeah, man, like, man, I went through a depression phase, which everybody does, man. I went through like my being hooked on my meds phase because I had never been severely injured and I didn't know what that life was like, and trying to cover up the pain, the loss by like partying and doing this and doing that. So yeah, I went through all of that, but once again, I keep saying it, but like family like just brings you, they make sure you don't get too far out of pocket. You know what I mean? Like they let you mess up and make some mistakes, but family the one that's gonna be real with you. And I had some family members go, hey man, you need to calm down. You're doing way too much. Like now you starting to stress us out. You know what I mean? So when
Really.
I got, yeah, man, like I went through a rough patch, man. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if you, like I said, if you ever pay attention to my social media, man, I'm so positive and I'm so thankful. I could have one of the worst days ever, but I always think about where I came from. You know what I mean? So,
Right. Right.
but yeah, going into San Antonio, when I got there, I was bitter and I was just like, man, you know what? I'm gonna show y'all because y'all left me. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm
Now,
gonna show y'all.
was this before or after the shopping spree and of cars? Because when I read it, I was like, this man went and bought cars like we go to the grocery store.
Bro, let me tell you. So I have a shoe problem. I have a shoe addiction, like close to like
I heard about it.
over 5,000 pair of shoes, easy,
Right. Yeah, that's the problem.
bro. I remember this one particular time. I was sitting on the couch with my uncle. We was in Tennessee, and I wanted this Chevy Avalanche. This is when they first came out, like with the
Okay.
Cadillac Escalade body
Yeah.
style,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
a Chevy. I'm Texas. I like Chevys.
Right.
I looked over. I told my uncle, I was like, "Hey, we got to go get that, man." My mom was like, "No, no, you don't need it. Like, what do you need it for? You can't even drive. You got a Cadillac sitting outside, a
Right.
Tahoe sitting outside. What do you need
Right.
it for?" So I was like, "All right, man, whatever." Like, all
Right.
right, hey, I don't know how we did it, but we left the house. We left the house and went down the street to the Chevy dealership, and I came home with that truck. My mom was sick. She was,
Right.
she was sick, man.
You all
Like,
sneaking out buying avalanches.
yeah, man. I had to put some feet on that. Being from Texas, I had to put some rims on it and all this
Right.
other
Right.
nonsense. And the crazy thing is, I couldn't even drive it. I couldn't even drive it because my arm. I couldn't even drive it, man. I just had a
Wait a minute. Wait
had
a
a
minute.
truck. Yeah,
So your uncle brought it home.
I don't know who drove that thing home, man. Honestly, like
Really?
to be super 100 with you, man. Like I probably drove that truck maybe 5 times.
Really?
Yeah, man.
So was that your okay? So being therapeutic, you think that was your way to cope or and somewhat normalize your life?
Yeah, yeah. So I got a friend on here. He just showed up. His name is his Instagram name is Jay Boogie.
Uh-huh.
Me and him was in the army together in Fort Lewis. He was in Texas. He was in Texas at the time. So I don't know how this dude managed to do it, but he ended up being with me almost the entire time I was in Texas. And he could tell you, I went through, man, I went through that avalanche. Let's see, an avalanche. I went through a 7 Series BMW. I went through a hardtop Mercedes Benz. I went through
Hmm.
a Camaro that I put rims on, lift up the doors.
What?
lights, man. I went through a Jag, man. I
Now,
had
what time frame is this?
Acura, bro. This is all.
You
This is
just
all in
named by.
6 months. This is all in 6 months.
Oh, come on, bro.
My mama's on there, bro.
You
Yes,
name more cars than months.
bro. Let me tell you. Yeah, I had a Benz, like I had an all white cocaine Benz.
So were you trading them back in? Were you? What was you just trade one? Like I just got this last month. I'm gonna trade this one in.
Yeah, man. I think that's what I was doing.
Hmm.
I don't know. There got to be a law against that or something, man. Man, they need to correct that, man, because they ruined my credit for real.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
Oh man.
I was going through cars like nobody's business, bro. Like it was crazy. That truck, I ended up giving away an Acura to a friend. My truck, I ended up selling to an ex-girlfriend's brother who I had never even met before. Like, I'm so thankful that he didn't screw me over because I was like, here you go, bro. Just make the payments.
What?
Yeah. And he did it too. Like he was super straight up about it. But like I was out of my man. I was on some other stuff, man. Like that once again, I keep telling you, like, that's why I am the way I am right now, because those first 2 years of my life post accident was the worst, man. Like
Mm,
it was the worst.
mm.
Yeah.
Now, you started getting this beast mode and getting into different events like the Ironman, the Spartan Games.
Yeah.
I saw that you were part of the football team, right?
Yeah.
Was it, yeah, amateur football
Uh-huh.
and the Warrior Games. You know, what are those? What do they entail? Like, what do you all do? I mean, there's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, like I can, man, I can contribute. I can thank so many people during this process, man, because it's never ever been all me, you know. But when I got to San Antonio, man, uh, I met a lady named Heather. Her last name is Carrie now, but she was a adaptive sports director. And when I first met her, man, I want to say I was with my cousin when I first met her, Nikki, and we was at the Center for Intrepid where they do all the stuff. And yeah, like uh, she took one look at me and she knew I was disgruntled, and she was like, "Don't worry
Mm,
about it." She was like, "We're gonna make this happen." She's like, "We go skiing, we do this, we do that." And my exact thing to, because she was like, "We go skiing, we go water skiing." My exact, mind you, this is a 6'1" tall white lady, and
mm.
I looked her dead in the eye and I was like, "Lady, I'm from Texas. Like, if it ice, we shutting the whole, not the city, but the whole state down. We're gonna send out a 1-0 to everybody." I was like,
Right,
"What makes you think I'm supposed to get on some slopes?" I was like, "Come on with that." I was like, "You funny. I'm out of
right,
here." But
right.
man, true enough though, like I said, um, man, I was just really blessed to be in the situation that I was in at that time,
Mm,
man, because like being in Texas where I'm from, you know what I mean? My mom is right down the street, my sister, you know, all my family. But
mm.
um it's just, and I don't even know if because you know, every time I talk about this, you remember certain situations, you know what I mean, that you forget. So I don't
Mhm.
even know if I ever even um I don't even know if I ever told my cousin Nikki, who was there. She was like she was like my fan, you know what I mean? Like she was like my number one fan. Like when I got there, like she wouldn't even let me live on my own. Like she made sure I stayed with her to, you know what I mean, uh to make sure I was good. But like she called and checked up with me all the time. And it was just fortunate, like how everything worked out, because she worked at the hospital where all my appointments were. You know what I mean? So when I first got there, like she was making sure I was going to my appointments, and she was calling on me. Like she was like, "Hey, cuz, you okay? You good? You need anything?" Nah, I'm good. Like everything was cool. You know what I mean? And she was the one like that encouraged me to like do all this other stuff that I really hadn't done. You know what I'm saying? So just to have her, uh, just to have somebody physically present versus a phone call was everything. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, like, but once again, like while I was there, I started skiing and started doing these Spartan races, and you know what I'm saying, like running marathons, and like I was just doing everything I could, bro. Like I didn't want anything to stop me. I didn't want anything to be an excuse. You know what I'm saying? And shit, whether you know it or not, bro, like I'm super, super like competitive, like, and I'm super like I have like tenacity that you just ain't gonna get. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you watching that Jordan special right now,
Oh, I get it.
bro, I'm thinking to myself like, man, Jordan has no idea. I've been had that.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Right.
let's do it. Let's do a day of life in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's do a day in my
Right.
life. Like, I've been had that.
Right.
Like, I'm always trying to go get it. I'm always trying to grind, and I'm always trying to embarrass somebody with two arms. Like, you got two arms? Oh yeah, I want to race you.
Right.
I want to, I
Right.
want to,
Right.
I want to, I want to swim against you. Like, I want to have a hand
Right.
clapping contest against you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Right.
you know,
Right.
um, I guess just losing this arm, bro, just gave me an opportunity to just put it all out there. Just put all my emotions out there. Just put all my grit, my grind. Just just to show people how tenacious I am. And I felt like, while I was in San Antonio, I was starting to find myself. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
man, it took a hot minute, but bro, when I found it, when I found
And
it
that was
though,
it.
there
That
wasn't no
was
looking
it.
back. Man, they everybody in
Now,
trouble.
and you've accomplished a lot of things. I was looking through the list, like, yo, like, is there anything this dude ain't did? Now, out of all the things you've competed in and did, is there anything you like the most proud of? Like, wow, I did that.
Man, I'm proud of everything, bro. Like, there's nothing that's gonna stand out. There's nothing that's gonna stand out more than the next thing, because everything that I've done, I've had support, from friends and family and everything. But man, everything I touch, man, I'm just trying to destroy. I mean, and during this whole process, I've learned that you got to trust the process, and you got to have patience, and um, overnight gratification just ain't the case all the time. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
I failed a lot. You know what I mean? Like I put that in the article that I sent y'all. Like I failed a lot. You know, but man, failure to me is necessary. To me, you know, it showed me who I am. It just showed me that when I'm knocked down, I have the power and the will to get back up. And at the end of the day, it's up to me whether or not I do those things. And I get up every single day. You know what I mean? And um, yeah, honestly, I've been thinking about this interview since day one. Since y'all reached out to me. And yeah, there's a couple of things I want to get across to some people. Especially younger athletes that you're gonna show this to, and people that may watch this later on. My family know, and my friends know, who people who follow me know. Um, they know how far I've come, and the growth I've done over the years. But um, yeah, yeah, I've back to it. I've done a lot. Yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah,
that's I love it. I love it, man. I'm knew I wanted to hear it, and I'm just so glad we got you on here and to find out, you're training for the 2024
yes, sir,
2024 Paralympics.
yes,
Now,
sir,
what does that actually mean to you? How much do you want that?
bro. Let me tell you, man, I got 21 years in the service right now, man. Um, and man, my family will tell you, bro. Like when I say this, they'll be like, yeah, yeah, he right. But I'm gonna tell you right now, like, to this is probably one of the most challenging things that I've ever done in my entire life. To even to even train to make the national team or the Olympic team is a feat in itself. I never knew how much sacrifice Olympians and Olympic athletes have to make to even get a taste, just a little taste of that glory. That doesn't even mean going to the Olympics. That's just training for the trials. You know what I mean? So I've been at this journey for a hot minute, man. So my Olympic journey, my Paralympic journey started with skeleton bobsledding. And I mean, I got a little taste of it then, but it's not nearly physically demanding as triathlon. Skeleton, man, I got really good, really fast. Got ranked nationally and in the world really quick, really fast, made the national team like within a year. Like everything was just like really, really fast. With this triathlon, bro, it ain't like that. Like it's taking everything in me to stay focused, to continue to grind, to stay determined. There's a reason why people on the Olympic team are the best in the world. There's a reason. You know what I mean? Like it's different from any other sport that you can, or any other event in the world that you can think of. To even be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the best in the world, it takes everything in you. You got to sacrifice, and I've sacrificed friendships, relationships. I mean, I'm in touch with my family, but like not as much as I should be, and I know that. You know what I mean? Like I always get apologetic with them when we get in a group text because, man, I'll go like 3 or 4 months and not say nothing to nobody, and it's not intentional. It's just because, man, I'm so focused, man. I got these blinders on right now, like, and I'm just like, I'm not trying to let nobody come in between me and my goals, man, and my dreams. Like I've literally built my brand. Like my thing is Dream Tracer. Some people don't even know what my first name is because I go by Dream Tracer. Like I'm always chasing this dream forever and a day. Like I'm not supposed to let anybody stop me from going to where I need to get. And this sport and this challenge, man, has it's taught me a lot. And I saw somebody on there earlier say humble. Yo, like triathlon, it's humbled me for real. Like I didn't even really learn how to swim until after I lost my arm. You know what I'm saying? And we all grow up riding bikes as little kids, BMXs, Huffies, and this, that, and the other. Nah, man, like I'm riding like $25,000, $30,000 bikes, trying to get down this road as quick as I can, and just then trying to add all three: swim, bike, run, trying to add them all together, man. It's a constant grind, man. Like there's some days I get up and I feel like I got it, like can't nothing stop me. And there's some mornings that I get up and I'm just like, man, what am I doing? I'm 40 years old out here, like I'm trying to keep up with these kids, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, I'm just gonna ride this thing till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I battle injuries and I go through this and go through that. Every now. So I had kidney failure a long time. Like I had kidney failure. I forgot to mention that, but I had kidney failure, so I was going through that. So every now and then my kidneys, act up a little bit. But yeah, like man, I'm all about that grind, man. If you see my sweatshirt, man, like I love the skin I'm in. Like that means like I love who I am. I love what I do. I love how I was raised. I love the man that I've become. I love the goals that I'm chasing. I love the father that I am. And man, ain't nobody about to change that for me. Like nobody. I'm not having it.
Man, that's you said a mouthful, and you've been an inspiration to people, not just young folks, but older folks, people like myself. And we come up with reasons of not doing things, and and then we think of someone like you that's just grinding it out. So before we bring this to an end, is there any parting words you want to give those folks out there that are watching? Any inspirational words you want to give us before we leave?
Yeah, man. Man, I got so many inspirational quotes and things that I live by on a daily basis.
So tell them how they can what's your social media so they can get some of those quotes from you.
Oh, that's easy. Like it's Michael _Dream Chaser _Smith. I'm pretty sure one of my family members will type that out or something like that. But Yeah, man. You know, when people get the understanding on how we train, it's a everyday process, you know, and it's hours and hours of dedication, um and it's so much dedication. But when I tell people and I explain to people, and they be like, man, I wish I was that motivated to do this and do that. So at the end of the day, this is how I see it. So I don't see it as motivation, right? I see it as a dedication type thing. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you make up your mind that you're going to be dedicated to whatever your craft is, whether that's sports, whether that's your job, whether that's school, whatever the case is, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's about that. It's the dedication. The amount of dedication that you put into what your craft is, that's going to determine how much motivation you bring to the picture. That's going to determine like how much you really, really want it. That's going to determine the heights of your success in life. And I was not like this growing up. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, I was not like this growing up. Like, I was molded into this. Like my entire life has brought me into this exact moment. Um, and I'm dedicated. Like, I'm trusting the process, and um, I'm with whatever comes my way. Um, I say all the time, I'm not gonna let this on. I'm not gonna let it stop me from doing anything that I want to do. You know what I mean? Like, I have my eyes, my head is always up. I'm looking forward to where I want to go. And you know, during this whole thing, man, I'm very, very fortunate to have like different people coming in and out of my life. Once again, you know, my family, my friend, like I have friends on here, and you know, relationships, things of that nature. Like, things are things are definitely not all me. You know, so just like what you guys have with this recruiting, like, so like there's different nonprofits that's helped me out. Like, um, there's a program called Dare to Try, who literally helped mold me into being a triathlete. When I thought I was a triathlete and I really wasn't, they're the ones that brought me in and was like, no, let us show you what, you know, what Dare to Try is all about. So, and they're all about helping people with injuries such as me, you know, with mine. You know what I mean? And then of course, like, I belong to another program in which I definitely need to introduce you to. So we'll have a sidebar about this afterwards. But it's called the 1 Mile, and the 1 Mile leadership, and they're all about what we're doing right now. They're all about paying it forward. They're all
Right,
about
right.
making a difference in other people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
and however that may look like, it doesn't mean you
yeah,
got to be a superstar, because there's tons of pro athletes in this leadership. But I mean, when I look at the people around me, I'm just like, I'm not $1 million athlete. You know what I mean? But I contribute in my own way. You know what I'm saying? So to say all of that, all this circles back around to um, just growth, just believing in the process, um, taking nothing for granted, going after what I want, man. And um, like, there's some people out there that don't want to see anybody succeed, man. Like, it's just what it is. There's haters everywhere right
yeah.
now. Like, somebody could hate that you're on this podcast, and they can say, "Oh, well, he don't deserve to have. Why does he have this? He doesn't deserve this."
That's right.
I remember back in the day when he was this person. Well,
That's
you
right.
know what? Like, that was then. This is
That's
this is
right.
who I am now. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like, this who I was then has made me who I am now. You know what I'm saying? So let me live. Like, but every now and then I gotta get on social media and be like, hey, like, I get it.
Right.
You don't want to see me make it, but because
Right.
of you, I am. Like, I'm just gonna use you for everything that you have. All that
That's right.
negativity, all that hate, all that doubt.
That's right.
I'm with it. Like, I one of those words. Yeah,
Now I'm gonna
I'm with
show
it.
you.
Oh yeah,
And,
I'm with it. I'm with all of
yeah,
it. Yeah.
and that
Bring.
that that really attests to your growth. You know what I mean? Like you said, and I can't thank you enough for coming on here and just telling your story. And I see so many people logging on, and this will be something that I actually post on our YouTube and social media, because so many people need to hear that. So I'm so glad you came on here. But before I let you go, we're gonna play 5 quick questions,
Oh
real
man.
quick. Are you ready? We got about 45 seconds to answer these questions. You ready?
All right, let's go.
Which one of these you would not want to go to war with? Gomer Pyle, Forrest Gump.
Man, neither one of them clowns, man. I can't do neither one of them clowns, bro.
All right. These are Army questions now. All right.
All right, all right.
You definitely want to go to war with Commando or Rambo?
I'll go with Rambo. Yeah,
Rambo, the legend.
Yeah.
Which one of these you would not want as your drill sergeant? The drill sergeant from Soldier Story or the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket?
Full Metal Jacket. That dude's a nut. Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah, nah.
Which one was the better movie, Full Metal Jacket or Platoon?
Man, I ain't Full Metal Jacket. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Last one. Which one was the better movie, Glory?
Man, you better stop playing with me. You already know Glory.
Glory it
Milestone, man. Come on now.
My man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we appreciate you being on here. Like I said, please follow this young man. He has an extremely wonderful journey. His inspiration is awe-inspiring. Thank you so much for coming, Mike. And
can I give a shout out real quick?
Go ahead, brother. We got about 15 seconds.
So I'm not going to name no names, but I just want to shout out to everybody who supports me, everybody who encourages me every day, my family, my friends, my teammates here in Colorado Springs. So I just want to say thank you, much love, and I appreciate you. You already know I'm coming to bring it home.